Jimmy Butler, he's a very interesting player to me.
He's like, oh shoot, I don't know where to go with the ball because I haven't been able to think.
It was a great series. Game 4 was one of the best games I've ever watched in my entire life. Now LeBron's a 4-time champion, and Anthony Davis gets his first.
It's unacceptable. So happy when the Astros lost because it would definitely be a 2020 thing.
Yeah, I was impressed by their game. Braden Point, Andre Palat, Nikita Kucherov, that was the best line in the playoffs, no doubt.
Stay undefeated when they face the mighty Cowboys with Garrett Gilbert.
Hey everyone, I'm Jared Sandler, and you're listening to Outsiders Opinions.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to our MLB Opinions of the Week. We are talking about playoffs, and it's not our playoff prediction video because as we are recording and as this is posted, we don't know who's in the playoffs. There is the Mets-Braves game, as we are recording, just got delayed to Monday, and then the next day is wild card. So we're doing some scheduling for our own podcast, but I would say the bigger issue than the man that also has this issue with our scheduling conflicts is the scheduling conflicts for the MLB teams, and that man with me is Austin.
Yeah, so Kevin, this is something that I don't remember ever happening before. It's definitely something that I'm kind of shocked that they let get to this point because I don't know how you don't adjust the rest of the playoff schedule based on this event. I definitely think that the way they're going about it is not the best because imagine we talked about this. It's a doubleheader. Whoever wins that game, either the Mets or the Braves, and makes it into the playoffs, could be the 5 seed. They could end up being the 5 seed, and then we'd have to play the Padres, fly out to the Padres the same night because the games are the next day. After a doubleheader, they're getting in late, sleeping not much because you need to practice. And even if their game is a night game, which it probably will be, that's just not enough time. I mean, we talked about injuries we recorded a video recently that if you haven't seen it, check it out. We were talking about is a close playoff race. Does it hurt or does it help? And Kevin, I think you have to agree. I know in the video you disagree with me there, but right here, this has to be hurt, right? Like it has to be because they wouldn't even be playing these games. These games wouldn't happen. They wouldn't. I don't know if you know this, but there's been a couple of teams that have played 161 games because of a rain out. It didn't matter. They were playing. It's like the Dodgers if they played the Rockies right now and it rained out. Who cares? Like we're just not going to play that game. The Dodgers didn't need it to make the playoffs. It didn't impact division races, all that other stuff. So they just didn't play the game. But here, this has to hurt.
Yeah, I agree. And to me, it's funny. Our brains are sort of linked because I thought about this. This is literally the tight playoff race to the extreme level of you are getting on a flight right after your game and going to a playoff game the next day. That you can't get it closer than that unless it was a few hours, but that wouldn't even make sense. However, with the MLB leadership in this point, that could happen. Just, I don't know how there isn't a built-in day. Just, hey, let's give him some travel and in case anything happens. That seems something someone would be like, we probably may never do this, but what if? And then there's that day.
Yeah, I definitely feel like that should be something that happens. The fact that they get 1 day off, why isn't it 2? I just don't know a league that doesn't have at least 2 days off before the playoffs. I believe the NHL has it. I believe the NBA has it. The NFL definitely has it.
NBA is weird, though, because you have the play-in.
Yeah, but I think there's a 2-day break. Or I guess...
I remember scheduling issues with the
Is there a
play-in.
2-day break between the regular season and the play-in? Maybe not.
I'm thinking when the play-in happens, then the next day is playoffs because we've always had that problem.
Well, I knew it was that, but that'd be different because those are the NBA kind of considers those playoff games, right? So that's a little bit different.
There are days between regular season and play-in. I'm thinking about play-in and
the league
NBA
wants
playoffs.
us to believe that those are playoff games, so I think that the reasoning is that.
Got it. Okay. And to me, this really is a play-in game for an MLB team between the Mets and Braves. So it's just really tough. And before we started recording, as we were talking about this, you had I'll let you say what you were about to say before we recorded. It was about they should make a change of going, okay,
Oh,
this
yeah.
is an extreme circumstance.
Yeah. They should be able to adjust. I feel like the league, in a lot of senses, is way too robotic. They are like, oh, we have to start the playoffs this date, so it ends on this date. Guys, we're not robots. The world is not perfect. We can't always be set to the same schedule. Sometimes you're going to have to make a change. It's like if the teacher never pushed back assignments, even if there was a power outage across campus the night before and everyone couldn't be online, their computers could have died or something else. Like, there's times where you have to change it. And that's not a bad thing. The ability to change, the ability to adjust is kind of what makes us human. And we're just ignoring the fact that we have the ability. The MLB is not tied to these schedules as hard as they try to make it seem. It is not the end of the world if they were to, at least just for the Braves and Mets, whoever they play, they get an extra day off. Just so that it's not impossible for this team to win.
Yeah, so to me, that's something that could happen in between the time of us posting. However, it kind of seems unlikely, just given that MLB feels very rigid, and even with I think they were talking about hurricane games. The Astros went through this in 2017. It was a regular season game earlier on in the season, so they just flipped the series, but that was merely between the owners. I feel that the MLB should go, okay, here's what we're going to do. That's kind of what they're meant to do, as this really isn't expected. It's just an out of the blue common thing from nature, and that's affecting the game.
Yes, but we have a week really to decide whether or not we're going to make it an adjustment to the schedule. We have plenty of time to make a decision.
I agree.
Expected 100%. But let's not act like the due date is tomorrow.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point. And I do agree with that. It's just the MLB, to be leader and just kind of managing something, you got to be prepared of, okay, this is what happens. This is how we're going to do it. And to me, the MLB is just always caught off guard with stuff like this.
They do it to themselves, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. So that really concludes all we got. I'll toss this back over to Austin to finish this one out.
Yeah, thank you guys for listening. Please let us know, especially if you're a Braves or Mets fan, what your thoughts are about the playoff schedule. Do you think the MLB should change it? Man, thank you guys for listening.